Everything is just, it's on the up and up right now.
Yeah, sorry that I'm a little bit late, but yeah. I just came straight from the gym and I kind of misjudged a little bit how long it would take.
That's no problem, man.
Alright, so Skit is up 1-0 against Creator?
Or Creator's up 1-0 against him.
Okay, I was already surprised. I just understood that Creator was down the game and I was really surprised by that.
I think that's the wrong camera. Oh yeah, those are the other two players getting ready. The sound, I was like, I think they're both in the booth. Anyway, down here at the bottom left, we have our Protoss player, Creator Prime. And at the top right, our blue Terran player, Skit, currently teamless. Like I said earlier, I think he plays for the clan Nex. I remember playing against someone named Nex Skit. I used to practice with Nex a lot, but it's not necessarily the case. He may not be part of that clan anymore. How was the gym?
Actually, quite good. Yeah, my routine, I mean, I'm getting back into it after I was sick at IPL, so right now I'm feeling a lot better and lost some weight and everything, so yeah, looking good.
That feels good, man. We do see a very normal barracks timing coming down here for Skit this game, rather than the one that we saw last time when he went for the gas first. And again, I mentioned this before, and I'll mention it to you now, of course. You probably feel the same way. When you're Skit, you're going against Creator, one of the best PvTers in the world, a very young player. He's known for revolutionizing the matchup. Do you play a macro game? Not necessarily, but after losing the first game pretty badly, he basically just went for a big attack and it failed. It almost worked out for him.
Especially on Cloud Kingdom, you can play a lot of double racks play. There are so many positions where you can actually hide the second barracks, so that's definitely something that he could pull off here. But so far it looks like we are seeing a normal build by Skit.
Yeah, it looks like it. And a pretty bold choice to go against Creator like that. But, you know, you lose the first game, might as well go for it on the second one.
Yeah, exactly. And, well, this is a pretty interesting map. I've actually seen a lot of pros versus Terrans lately when I was watching Naniwhites, the opening map in his matchup against MVP. So let's see what exactly Creator is up here. You can play a lot of different strategies here. We had a lot of 3-gate pressure in the early game. You can go for the Blink Stalker build, but you can also obviously just transition into your robotics and go for the more standard Colossus and then just either aim for a push like Squirtle did at IPL over and over again on 2 bases, or just try to go into the macro mode and just opt for the long game.
Yeah, definitely so. We've seen all sorts of different expansion builds on this map. We've seen Forge Fast expands. Even we saw Maru try to punish that recently in Code S. Didn't work out for him. We've seen the very fast third Nexus build that Parting likes to show. That's something that I think Parting kind of adopted from Creator style a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Creator go for that fast third Nexus, power up to 8 gateways, put some pressure on Skit. It's a very safe build, a very common one right now, and I think it would be a good choice.
You just put a lot of pressure onto your opponent and you kind of try to dictate the pace of the game, which is always a good thing, but you have to be very careful. It's a little bit like the scenario when you have a Protoss versus Zerg and the Zerg player goes for this 3-base Roach build and tries to put on pressure, but if at some point you miss the time to transition, then you might face a unit composition that's completely cancelling out what you're throwing against, in this case, the Terran player, and then it might bite you back in the ass. So
yeah, that very well may be the case. Now, Skit is taking a little bit of a risk here, taking a fast third command center. Speaking of fast third bases, he is making the 1 bunker now at his natural, and the question is, when will he move the command center down? He'll probably keep it in his main base for a really long time. This is commonly what you see. Players sticking in the main base, getting that third command center powered up, getting their SCV count a little bit higher before moving out, getting those triple mules. And right now we see Creator adding 2 additional gateways. I don't think he's going to add the third one, though.
And Skit has to be really, really careful here. If he starts with another command center, as we see him doing here, he needs to have the forces in order to defend against a 3-gateway build. There are a lot of different pressures that he can apply as a Protoss player, but if Creator goes for a very aggressive attack style after he finished his gates and the Nexus, then he might just be able to break it. There's only 1 bunker right now, and not a lot of Marines to defend against any potential pressure.
Yeah, and he's not going to make the 4th gateway, but you're exactly right. With these 3 gateways alone, he can do a lot of pressure with there being just the 1 bunker there. There's a very fast forward pylon. He's actually warping in some stalkers here. If he can actually target that bunker down with his first few warp-ins of units, he'll actually be able to push through, and we'll see if he's going to go for it. At the very least, he'll pull some SCVs off here.
I don't think that Skit actually saw it earlier.
No, I don't think so.
No, he did, obviously. There are no sentries in the mix, though. He can't really use the force fields in order to prevent the SCVs from repairing.
He's just trying to force SCVs off the line and force a repair here by the looks of things. And basically what he's doing here is trading Stalker shield energy for money, which is actually a really good trade.
Yeah, indeed. So he's just trying to snipe a few of the SCVs, do a little bit of damage, and keep as many of his units alive. This is not designed to kill the Terran player just yet. He just wants to pressure a bit. If you really want to kill him, you need some sentries, you need the force fields.
You're absolutely right. He is warping in 2 sentries now. It looks like he wants to commit a little bit more to this, because I feel like what he's doing here, he feels is not enough, although it's done quite a bit of damage already. 2 engineering bays, though, going up now for Skit. He's going to be starting Stim. There it is on the production tab very soon. And, he's just basically trying to force more SCVs off the line.
The build that Skit is using right now is also resulting in a little bit of a problem for him. He will have medivacs very, very late in the game.
Yeah.
He's dedicating all his gas to the upgrades right now. He doesn't really have a tech at this point. We don't see a factory. He doesn't have a starport. So medivacs will be very late, and therefore he can't put any aggression on the
Yeah,
Creator.
exactly right. He's not going to be able to punish Creator for this aggression. That's something you see time and time again. Terrans trying to punish the Protoss player for this aggressive move because they have better tech. They're not spending the gas on those attacking units like the Stalkers and the Sentries.
And here we finally see the factory. At the same time, Creator is about to finish his robotics. And of course, additional upgrades for Skit, who's now trying to transition into the tech, trying to get those medivacs. He's making sure that he has the Marines with the 1-1 upgrades. And I would not be surprised to see an armory very soon as well, so that he can start with +2/+2 right away. And this will give him a huge upgrade advantage over Creator, who does not have a single forge yet.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And something else to think about here is that Creator's a little bit in the dark right now. He doesn't know there's a 3rd command center. He hasn't been able to get up there and scout that. He doesn't have the Observer out just yet. So he's not going to be able to utilize perhaps a Colossus timing where his opponent doesn't have the starport. He doesn't know anything like that. His forges are a little bit late here. He doesn't know his opponent's getting double upgrades right now. That's something you just mentioned, but he's basically kind of in the dark, and because of it, he's playing a little bit safer than he necessarily needs to, and he may be able to get, he may find himself behind as a result.
And now we have the armory. So what is basically happening here is Skit just delaying his medivacs a little bit, giving an advantage to his, or giving just a higher priority to his upgrade, starting with a +2/+2 very soon, and then he will hit a lot later, but he will pretty hard. He will hit with +2/+2 with medivacs, and this is going to be very dangerous for Creator. He needs to be very careful here, even though he has a good position in the game at this point.
You're exactly right. The double gateway is going down now for Creator back at home. He's powering up because he's still very much in the dark. He needs to add a little bit more production. He doesn't know what he's about to base here, and he will see now with the Observer the medevac timing is late. He's going to know, oh, my opponent has 3 orbitals. That's something that's really scary to think about, and he's going to know very soon, of course, that his opponent is very significantly ahead in upgrades. I like this choice by Skit to go for this fast 3rd base and the faster upgrades, because basically he cuts 2 corners here, but this is the problem most Terran players have been dealing with Protoss armies, is that their upgrades are way ahead. And that's something that every Terran is complaining about right now, not only in Korea but outside of Korea. So to do this fast eBay build, fast 3rd command center, allows them to power up safely and securely, get these upgrades, get the SCV count up, and I really like a build like this.
Creator is slacking a little bit in macro at this point. He has a ton of energy on both next side that he does not use to get his upgrades a little bit faster. Not only the +1/+1, you've been talking about this quite a bit now, but also the charge upgrade. He's waiting maybe for his robotics to finish so that he can chrono boost his first Colossi and the range upgrade, but with all the energy that he has saved up, he should definitely dedicate some of it to the forges as well.
Yeah, he absolutely should be. In fact, he's literally just chrono boosting a Colossus that's supply blocked right now.
Yeah.
And that's obviously less than ideal. We do see +1 ship weapons on the way for Skit, something Terrans are beginning earlier and earlier without even producing the Vikings, just making sure that's out there so that when they do engage, the heavy Protoss upgrades are not going to affect them too much.
In regards to map control, we still have the pylon to the top left, so at this point Creator has an option of warping in a few units and trying to harass the 3rd base. So even if Skit decides to get aggressive here, Creator still has an option of just being trying with a little bit of a counter attack. Yeah, +2/+2 is nearly done for our Terran player, whereas Creator just started the 2nd wave of upgrades, also extended thermal range, and after we saw the charge upgrade, he's going straight up for Blink, so both of them just pretty happy of staying a little bit low right now, very passive, and trying to gear up for this timing that they want to use in order to take down their opponent.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. I mean, they're both just getting those upgrades out and they're getting ready to attack each other, and they're both playing a little bit passively in some ways to defend their 3rd base, but Skit has, with that faster 3rd command center, has powered way ahead. He hasn't really missed a beat with his production. He's at 30 supply ahead right now, and he's about to be 2-2 when his opponent is at 1-1, and if he hits this timing, which it looks like he very well may because he's moving out right now, he may be able to kill that 3rd Nexus. In fact, he should be able to kill that 3rd Nexus. He's even going to have +1 on his Vikings.
Exactly. So he has a few Vikings. He will be able to deal with his opponent's Colossi. Storm will not be ready. We might have +2/+2 depending on if Skit is delaying his attack even further. But now he's just moving out, as you mentioned, and he will be able to do a lot of damage here and might even be able to take down the third.
Yeah.
This is a very heavy attack.
This is a super important move here. He does kill the Observer. Now Creator is going to be a little bit in the dark. I want to mention that Skit, hold that thought, he's stimming up here. There are no sentries to force field, and the Vikings go to work right away. The Stalkers blink in, but it's a bit late. The Archons and the Colossi doing a decent amount of damage. This is a much better trade for Skit.
Only attacks half his army, though he moved a little bit of it back, but right now everything is once again engaged, and we have another Colossi joining the battle, but the Vikings are still in the loop trying to take them down. Here comes the Mana Mule, and Skit is going for it, while Creator is down to 80 supply and losing his third base.
Yeah, with the Mana Mule, man, I mean, it's his first time in the GSL, and he's not wasting any time celebrating. Does take out the last Colossus with his Vikings, and the Mana Mule is basically well placed. It's double the supply here. He started his +3 the second his +3 attack, or +2 attack finished.
And another Mule just maybe Creator didn't see the first one, so he drops another one.
He is just like, well, you didn't GG, man. What's going on here? And it looks like this new Skit guy at least knows his timings well. GG. Skit cutting some corners here in this game, and Creator playing a little bit too safe, I have to say.
Yeah, he could have done way more damage. We talked about it a bit earlier when he didn't have the sentries with his 3-gate attack. If he really commits to it, uses a few chrono boosts in order to get the second wave a bit earlier into the picture, then he can use the force fields, and suddenly with only one bunker, Skit is facing a huge problem because he went for the third base, for the third command center. But in this case, Creator not aggressive enough, and then suddenly Skit getting the better end of the game.
Yeah, that's why this third command center build is becoming so popular right now, because you don't make it at your third base, you just make it in your main, and you just get stuff from that, basically. If your opponent doesn't commit to a big attack, you are literally just going to get ahead. How can they see?
And we are invited into the third map, guys, and it's going to be Entomb Valley. Creator against Skit. Protoss against Terran. 1-1 currently.
Yep, and the third map is Entomb Valley. It's a very, very balanced map, I feel, especially for this matchup. You know, some people would argue that it's pretty strong for Protoss in PvZ, and I would agree to a certain extent. But in this matchup, it feels to be a pretty good map. Very often goes into the late game. There's very open space in the middle of the map. Sometimes we see engagements near the choke points, around the third bases, or at the Xel'Naga Watchtower. Anyway, we're not going to waste any more time. We're jumping into the game right now. This is the GSL Code with Kaldor and Wolf.